Right folks, welcome to another episode of Ghost Stories. Well, in this investigation, it's going to be different compared to any other investigations. We're going to try and get 3 different locations done in the one video. But the best thing about this investigation is we have one of the most special guests ever to come on our channel is my son Dale. And he's going to come in and he's going to join us in these investigations, not just for his first investigation. He never done any of this ever before. I'm delighted to have Dale, my son, with us in this investigation. Come in, Dale.
How are you doing? How are you getting on?
So this is Dale, my son. He's more hair than I do.
Just about.
And he's going to join us in this investigation. Dale is. Now Dale, you've seen loads of my videos
I
in the time.
indeed, yeah.
And I'm just going to bring him mostly to the top 3 locations, not too far away from us. So Dale is going to experience this for the first time. We're going to walk in here to this abandoned church. We're going to give him a guided tour. We're going to do a quick spirit box session, and then we're going to move on to our next location. Are you looking forward to Dale?
Just about.
Right, so let's get in. Let's have a go. You never know what's going to happen. Let's have a go. Dale's looking behind us. He doesn't know what's ahead of him.
Oh, fuck.
So let's give it. So we're heading in. Just take your time going in, Dale. Until you get your light. Just slow down now because you experience it all for your first time going in here. And I'll show you how to jump the light and I'll fix the light for you. This is how to put it here. This is where the priest would have came in. Now we better not put on the white that better for you?
Yeah,
there you go. So this is where the priest would have come in, Dale, to do, like for getting dressed up before you went in. So this is where it would have been. So just walk in slowly and take it all in. Mind your steps. Just walk in slow. Now I haven't been here now in about 2 years, and all the chairs have been moved and moved around. Look at that. Just stop there a second. There, slow down. No, just slide. Look at all these chairs. Look, all these chairs were all. The last time I was here, all these chairs were all lined up.
Were they?
Yeah, all lined up. Look.
They moved around.
Huh? Yeah. These were all lined up the last time I was here, in the way that you would see in a chapel. So what I'm trying to say to everybody at home is, the last time I was here, all these chairs were lined up the way that you would be in a chapel. So what we do is, if you take a walk over there to your left, you see the confession boxes. We'll just kind of go that way, nice and steady. And just take it all in. Just slow down some bit because the light just shine it there. What I'm trying to say is, over here you see the confession boxes, and we have confession boxes over there as well, over in that corner. But all these chairs have all moved. Dale, when I was here the last time, all these chairs were all in a line.
Lined up.
Yeah. So what we'll do is, I think we'll go up here on top here and see what's going on. See, there's graffiti up here now. This has never happened. We'll just go up here, follow up that way. I'll show you. The youth have found it, unfortunately, Dale.
Yeah, that's what it was at the time.
Huh?
That's what it was at the time, yeah.
The youth have found it. Just go up the stairs. And this was never like this day when I was here. When I was here, it was actually, no, it was lovely and clean. Yeah. It's been sad, isn't it?
Yeah.
So let's see what kind of damage they're doing to the place.
Keep here, I'd say.
Yeah.
Was.
Huh? And look at all the graffiti, look. Yeah, the wreck. There was all chairs here too. Yeah.
Was there?
Yeah, all this place was all chairs here. It's a hideout place, isn't it? So it's sad to see it. Yeah. And all there used to be all chairs all the way down along there, Dale. And there used to be all chairs up here. I think some of the chairs that were up here. Some of these chairs were up here, Dale.
So they were tossed over.
And they were tossed over, yeah. You can see it.
It's a big chapel too, isn't it?
Yeah. So all them chairs, see them chairs here?
Yeah.
They were all up here. And they threw them down. Yeah. Right, so we just go up here for a second. This is what I usually do before. I usually put the lights. So we'll just sit here for a second. And we'll be back in 2 seconds. Okay, so myself and Dale are up here. This is where the choirs would have been sang. And Dale's first time ever been here. Dale, you can see it. This was a church. The youth are starting to come in and wreck it now. So it's sad. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a quick spirit box session. And we'll see what we pick up. Now remember, if anything I hear on the recorder, I will write it up in red. I'm trying to get it out of my bloody pocket as I speak. Just hold that in your own hand there for a second. I'll try and fix this. Right, so I have it on my hand at the moment. This is the Tesco spirit box. Anything that comes up, we'll write it in red. And I don't feel anything spooktacular or anything yet.
Oh, shit.
So I'm going to call out and we'll see what anything happens. So remember, it'll come up in red. This is only a quick flyby in 3 different locations. If there's any spirits in the church, any priests, any visitors in the past who used to come to mass here, can you make a bang in the place? Pick up a stone and throw it. My name is Philip and Dale. We come in love, joy and respect. We're only here to bob in and say hello. Very quiet, but what I'm trying to say to you is I asked can you make a bang and straight away you got some kind of a bang, didn't you? Right, let's just turn on the spirit box, see does that happen. I'm going to give that on your thing. I just kind of pointed towards the 2 heads. Can you use it to fight spirits and try and talk to it? Put it closer to you there. My name is Philip and Dale.
That will grow very, very quickly.
Put that there.
He's full of this stuff, as if you've heard of it.
Also in this location.
Good work from Fiona Coyle approaching him. If you end up with, you're ready.
Also in this location as well, a guard was shot dead in a bank robbery just outside the door as well. So the next spirits here would like to talk to this device, give them a message before we leave.
Not taking a ride, you're an hour 4. No shit.
Underscore Massiel, so you can go and check it out there later.
They could kick it anyway. It would do. To a fight.
You should give a shout there then, see if anything work for you. Just give a shout now yourself.
Is there any spirits here that like to communicate with us?
69%, so.
You can in peace.
I'm here.
We just want to see if any other one on the other side.
Maybe. Ray, because I'm seeing it in a.
Walks or WhatsApp.
Right, so that's the first spirit box session. We don't know how we pick it in. We're only 5 minutes in here. Like a growl there, wasn't there? Okay, we're going to turn around the camera, record going out, and we'll see you. Right, what's your experience about this chapter before we move on to our next location? I just showed this here because I kind of used it better than you were.
It was a strange feeling at the start. It was a kind of a why? It was kind of a blowback at the back of the head.
Yeah.
At the very start, that's
Hmm?
very start there was.
Right, so you make your way down and we'll stop it outside the door again, so I'll just follow you down. But it's sad that the youth are starting to find this place. This place was immaculate clean when I started coming here. See all these steps, these were all clean and all the chairs were there, there were still candles, there was all these lines of chairs were still here, Dale.
Glasses.
All these glasses were in the door. There were. Sure. There was glass in these panels of the doors and you could walk up the aisle here, Dale. You could, yeah. Right, just put it in there, you do that, right? Right, we're just going to leave it in Dale. Right, Dale, we're going on to our next location. You haven't a clue where I'm taking you, so on to the next location. Okay. Right, welcome back to our second location. Right, Dale?
Yeah, very big area we're in.
Yeah, well, this
Ravensdale Woods.
Yeah, this is the Ravensdale, as you can see we're behind us. And it's huge, it's absolutely massive. So Dale wants to know, why did I bring him here?
Yeah, what's the background this location?
Right, the background in this location is, well, all I can do is tell you is when I do come out in investigations, this is probably one of the most, it's very lively during the day, but what I'm going to tell you is we'll start at the beginning. This is the car park where there's two young lads. If we can find any photographs here, I'll put them up along here as we go along. But there was two young lads here. They were dealing with drugs back a few years ago. Anthony Burnett, I think, and I don't know what the other young lads is. We'll go up here and we'll find the names on the cross here in a few minutes. But they were dealing with drugs, and the person that they were dealing with drugs on the day, they were selling a car on the buy and sell, and they parked the car underneath a big tree here. And the man that they owned the money for the drugs hopped in the back of the car and shot the two young lads in the back of the head here and burned the car.
Madness.
And he walked away. So that's the first bit that we have down here. So what I can do is we're going to press pause a minute. We're going to turn around the camera. We'll show you the names of the two young lads up here, and then we'll come down here to the big tree where the big tree was dead, where it all happened, and then we'll move on to our next location.
A1.
Alright, so we'll just move on to that. So Dale, we're down here at the location where the two young boys were shot in the back of the head. This is the first part of Ravensdale Wood, and I'm just going to show you down here on the ground. The two young lads' names were Joseph Redmond and his friend Anthony Burnett. On the 7th of March 2012, you can see it there. I can show you there. 2012. You can see it there. You can read it out there to the viewers just in case.
The memory of my son Joseph Redmond and friend Anthony Burnett. Rest in peace, March 2012.
Yeah, so you can see it there on that. That actually happened just down to the car park here. There was a big huge oak tree. It was massive. It was a couple hundred years old, and it was just in the car park. And what happened is, on the location where it happened, you can see where there's.
I can see from here, yeah.
And that's where the two young lads were shot in the back of the heads, and they were burned in the car, and your man walked away. Your man was got. That's the picture of your man there, who was doing life in prison in relation to the two young lads. And it's sad, that's all that's left in it. It's just a piece of metal now of their remembrance, and I can keep there. If I had a nail, I would nail it to the tree, but I haven't. So what we'll do is we'll leave that there, and there's a few pictures in relation to the investigation, and it's closed now because they have got your man. Eventually he admitted to the murder of the two young lads, and he's doing life in prison. So what we're doing is we're going to switch on the spirit box. We're going to make our way to the tree. We're going to do about 2 or 3 minutes there, and then we're going to move on to the next location. Behind me, we're going to leave that bit to the end because I think that's the most interesting place of the Ravensdale. Right, so what we're going to do is we're going to head down to the big tree. I'm going to show you the big tree. We're going to switch on the spirit box. In the spirit box there, you might hear it, then again you mightn't hear it. It's only when we go back and listen to it, that's only when we're going to hear it. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. Sometimes you get a great response in relation to Joseph and Anthony, is it?
Joseph Anthony.
So we're going to call out from them when we get down to the big tree. That is where they were murdered. We'll give it about 2 or 3 minutes there, and then what we'll do is then we'll make our way to the next location. So as we walk down, you know where the tree is. I'm going to record you going down there. So we're just going to make our way to the tree. So we're just going to follow Dale down. This is Dale's first time ever in an investigation with me. So I'm just going to show him what I do in my spare time. So just follow Dale down. How you doing? And just make your way, Dale, to the big tree. Now that tree, Dale, will see this tree here? That tree here, we just showed them this tree here. It goes all the way up. That tree was big as that over here.
Was it?
Yeah, it was huge. Absolutely huge. That was a big, huge tree. So that's the tree here. And that tree was huge. It was hundreds and hundreds of years old, that tree was. And it was big as them trees as you can see there beside. You see them there? It was huge. Absolutely massive. And unfortunately, bad things happened, and the two young lads were murdered here at this location, just here as we speak. But what the locals did here, they cut away the tree because the tree there was nothing left of it. There was only dead branches. So they thought it was more horrendous. But I thought they would have left something here to mark with respect to the two young lads, but they didn't. So anyway, yeah, what we're going to do here, I know it's windy, but if we could set the device here on the tree, and we'll just turn it up the other way, right up like this, and we're just going to switch it on, and Joseph and the two young lads, what was it, Joseph and Anthony, just turn it up there.
Big announcement.
Joseph and Anthony. Our names are Philip and Dale. Come with love, joy and respect.
Story for me.
Don't blow your own trumpet.
Don't blow your own trumpet. Look. Did you hear that? Did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard that.
No, don't blow your own trumpet. What they're trying to in responses.
Great, is it? No.
Well, I'm trying to say it
drivers,
with the youth down here. Don't blow your own trumpet means don't be drunk, don't be don't be getting excited. Have you noticed that a lot of people are starting to disappear since they started doing this? Joseph and Anthony, my name is Dale and Philip. Come with love, joy and respect. Can you say Anthony or Joseph in this device?
Kids game. Other younger players.
The man who shot you in the back of the head is doing life in prison now.
Audience for joining.
The man who shot you in the back of the head is doing life in prison now.
Subject.
Don't know that.
Have your message first?
Restrictions will be.
A 35-year-old man has been found guilty of murdering 2 Dublin men in County Louth in 2012. Jason O'Driscoll, with an address at Richmond Avenue in Fairview, had pleaded not guilty to murdering 31-year-old Anthony Burnett and 25-year-old Joseph Redmond.
The Central Criminal Court heard that emergency services were called to a burning car at Ravensdale Forest Park at the foot of the Cooley Mountains at 10 to 11 on the night of March 7, 2012. The bodies of the 2 men, 31-year-old Anthony Burnett and 25-year-old Joseph Redmond, both from Ballybock in Dublin's north inner city, were discovered inside the stolen car. They had both been shot in the head. The court heard evidence that the 2 men left their homes that evening to travel north. Jason O'Driscoll was living in Newry and had told them he'd pay €700 for the 1-year-old Volkswagen Golf if they would drive it up to him. Much of the case was built on circumstantial evidence. CCTV footage showed O'Driscoll and another man topping up mobile phones.
Right, so we moved from that car park and we're going to talk to Dale and get Dale's reviews of the start of this video in relation to Ravensdale. Right, Dale, so what's...
The last location there was 2 young lads. They were shot in the back of the head regarding a situation that they were in a couple of years ago. The names are Anthony and
Anthony Burnett, and I forget the other lad's name.
We placed a spirit box just on an oak tree.
Yeah, that's this device here. Yeah.
Placed on the bottom of that car park there.
Yeah.
In relation to that situation, we're trying to obviously reach out to them and explain their situation regarding their...
Yeah, well that's it. What happened is the 2 young lads, Anthony Burnett and Joseph Redmond, who got shot in the back of the head down there in 2012 in relation to a drug feud that was going on unfortunately with the young lads. They got involved in the wrong things, but they were selling a car and the buy and sell, and they were down there selling the car. They were meeting someone who was buying the car, but unfortunately they met their maker. It was the man that they were dealing with the drugs. He shot the 2 of them back behind the head, and he burned the car up, and they were actually burned to a crisp inside the car. That's the story in relation to that. The big tree it was a big huge tree, as you see here in front of us, and the locals around here cut the tree down. And the only sad thing about it, they should have put some kind of a memorial inside or a plaque in relation to the young lads. Yes, the young lads they were they got involved in the wrong things, different strokes for different folks, but at the end of the day they were still murdered here, and that's 2 locations where the 2 young lads were murdered. We put on the marked Cottage box, cut a long story short, to use the device to try and communicate with the spirits that have murdered here in these locations. They use the device to try and use it to speak to us and throw out some messages. Yeah, so that's one side.
And this location that we're in right now?
Right, this location we're here now, it's a picnic site in around here, over across the river. Back in 1978, in around roughly that, there was no picnic tables here. These trees wouldn't be as big as they are today, but there was a young family out here picnic. 2 sons ran up the hills up there, just as in front of me, as we speak. And how I know it, I was out doing another investigation out in Phillipstown Mill, out in Dundalk, and I met one of the other brothers. He lived about 70 at the time, and he told me that his mother and father were sitting here in a picnic, and the 2 of them ran up the middle of the hills there playing, and he said he ran back to his mother and father screaming and roaring, where a man attacked him in the middle of the woods. He broke out from a mental institute somewhere around this location here, and he battered his brother to death up in the hills there.
Jesus.
That's a fact here. But we're not going to do much spirit box session here because there is a young family here taking photographs, and we don't want to spook them out. But we'll move on to our next location, and we're going to move in relation to the Black Dog. So I'm going to take you to the Black Dog location in relation to Robert, known as Robert. He was in what's it called? I can't think of his name, but he was in loads of investigations. He lived in top of the hill. I won't tell you break it. He lived in the top of the hill with his parents for years and years and years, known as Gamekeeper's Cottage. And he told us that when he was a young lad running through here, he met the black demon dog, known as the demon that can pronounce themselves as the Black Dog of the forest, and known as the Lark in the Park. We'll never sing again. And we're going to take today on that trail now, and then when we get out of the trail, we'll do a spirit box session, because that's where we open up to the Gamekeeper's Cottage, and we'll move through them stories with Dale. Dale doesn't know any of these stories. He watched a load of the videos but he couldn't realise, but that's where we're going to do. We're going to go over the bridge, we're going to make our way up to the Black Dog area, and we're not going to concentrate on the spirit box session in relation to the young lad that got killed here, because we're going to respect the people that are behind us. So we're going to move on to our next location over the bridge and make our way up to the Black Demon Dog area, where Sean Walters was living in the forest, and when he was a young lad, and he seen this yoke in his time. That's the lad that I told you, Dave, Sean Walters, where I wheelbarrowed him to the woods here 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, where he fell in the river. I pulled him out. So that's the true story. So we'll move on to our next location. Just walk yourself. Right, so we're walking through the woods here. This is the area, Dale. Just taking nice it all in. This is the area where Sean Walters. See this little track where you're walking there? I just slow down, see, look at that track. That's the track Sean Walters used to walk down every day when he was a young lad, up here, right? How I know so much of the history about this place, because Sean Walters, I haven't spoken to him in a year and a half since the COVID started, but he used to walk this track when he was a young boy, going down from school, down to the Cooley Mountains, to the National School. And this is where he seen the big black creature coming down and facing him. See all these trees that you see all around us? There was none of these trees back in his time. Sean Walters' father got a job here as a gamekeeper, and the gamekeeper's job was to plant all the trees in the shrub and to look after the forest, but he got rent-free in a house up in the middle of the woods. We'll talk about that in time to come, and that's how Sean Walters knows a lot of the history about this place. So I'm going to take you through some of the history. So we just keep walking. This is the track, and they won't be able to hear it when we're just take it all in. In the winter time, that water comes up to the top of there. The bank, yeah? Yeah. And this is the river that Sean Walter fell in at 5 o'clock in the morning, but another 5 miles up into the mountain. And I had to pull him out. And yeah. And look how deep it is.
I know, I can see it from here, yeah.
When it's up here.
Yeah.
And I had to pull him out at 4 o'clock in the morning. I put him in a wheelbarrow, way up here, further way up. Yeah. We were walking down here. He was as drunk as a skunk, and 1 minute I turned around and he was gone, and he was flowing down the river. Yeah? Yeah? Yeah, in fact. Yeah. Yeah. How are you doing? See the mount, see the stonework there, Dylan?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
see
I
it?
do, yeah.
See it? But in the winter time, the water comes up here.
High.
Yeah, it goes way up here.
You can't apart from that.
Oh, you can, yeah.
Can you?
Yeah, you can, yeah. You go right there, go right. How are you doing? How are you getting out? Now look, see the waterfall?
Yeah.
See the speed of the water?
Yeah.
Well, a couple of 100 yards up, that's where Sean Waters fell in, and he was making his way down here, and I had to jump in and catch him.
That's alright.
So just keep going. Yeah, keep going, yeah. On your head.
Big crack, isn't it?
Yeah, just keep going. I'll tell you something, you'd have muscles where you have never got muscles before in this place. Alright, we're going swinging right.
Right.
Yeah, swing right. Right, we'll see you in a minute, guys. So, Dave, we're up the track. I'm sitting down because I'm knackered. You're going to have a fag. And we're not even started walking in the woods yet. This is where Sean Waters has seen the black creature walking up and down here when he was a young lad. In Ireland, there's only two places where you can see this black dog. It's here and the Hellfire Club. Why is it hanging around here? Nobody knows. Maybe so much dark stuff happened here, so many murders have happened here. And I just want to say to Dave as well, there's so many ongoing investigations in relation to Dundalk, people gone missing. This is where they end up, trust me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to switch on the spirit box for about 1 minute. I'm just going to let it ramble through itself and see what it picks up, because the spirits of Ravensdale Wood know me by now, so they know what I do, trust me, and when they interact they're able to use these devices. But I just want to run Dale through as quick as we can through this place. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn it on and leave it on the stone, and we're going to let it ramble on for a few minutes, and if I see or hear anything in it I will write it up red. So I'm going to switch this on. I don't know if it's going to do any good with the sound of the water, but we're just going to switch it on, let it scan away.
Southerly breezes. And that's all your news for the moment. We'll have more at half-time of this. FBD, you great.
Any spirits here wish to communicate us as we make our way through the woods?
College.I.
With spars, £1 each.
It's almost 3 o'clock.
My name is Philip and Dale. If you could say Philip or Dale.
In store and online. Nights a week. 8,000.
Can you say Philip or Dale in this device?
Smart speaker.
think in this organisation there would be a standard. It's 3 o'clock. I'm Ava.
Right, so that's it.
I'm Stephen Burke, the former chair.
Right. That's your impression here. Just slow around here and I'll get you here.
Where's the next location we're going to now?
Right, the next location, as you can see, we're halfway up in the middle of the woods.
How many locations is there?
There's loads and loads of different locations here. Now, what I'm going to say to you today is we're heading to the Gamekeeper's Cottage. Now, the Gamekeeper's Cottage, what I told you about Sean Walters, but even before Sean Walters' time, there was a big, huge manor house. At the far side of this forest, there's a big, huge mansion house. And the lady, they call her the lady of the house, had only one son. Her husband died, but she lived in a big, huge mansion house down there. So Sean Waters before Sean Waters' time, a gamekeeper got a job of planting trees here in the woods, and his job was to set traps, catch pheasants, catch rabbits, and bring them down to her for the dinners back at the time. And what happened was her only son was caught poaching in the woods, right? Okay, and he was selling the rabbits and the things off to other people, but it was her son, the widow's son.
Yeah.
But he was caught poaching at the gamekeeper's cottage. He took out his rifle to fire a shot warning to warn off, to run him out of the place. But he didn't realise it was the black widow's only son that he was working for, and he shot him by an accident. The bullet bounced off a tree and killed the young lad. He was shot dead up here, a couple of 100 yards. But the gamekeeper himself, that was employed by from the widow, hung himself on the hook in the gamekeeper's cottage. The next employees was Sean Waters' family, who were employed in there, and that's where I'm taking you now. I'm taking to the gamekeeper's cottage, where Sean Waters himself told me the history of his family, who used to live in this gamekeeper's cottage. There's lots of stories going in relation to hauntings, in relation to this, in relation to the Irish Republic Army, in relation to the IRA. This used to be a secret location in the time where they used to have meetings in here. Not only that, he says this is a haunting where the Black Widow herself comes looking for her son. Sean Waters says there's information in relation to the son still running around the woods. You can hear him giggling and laughing. The black dog, Sean Waters says that one night he was in bed upstairs. They used to be able to go upstairs. He used to be able to go up to the stairs. The kids have a room now. But Sean Waters says that the black dog came up the stairs and started scratching at the mother's door one night, and the mother ran it out with a shoe. And Sean Waters says this place comes to life. He says if you don't believe in spirits, he said just keep away from this place, because this place will open your eyes to black shadows, people walking around, children giggling and laughing. He says there's so much stuff here, but there's so much to tell you what's going on back after it.
Yeah.
But let's move to the gamekeeper's cottage. But before we do, there's another house beside it. It's from back in the famine. There's famine houses as we speak, away up the mountain back in the famine days, where people starved with starvation and died from hunger strikes, because they had not hunger strikes, but actually from starvation from food. And a family of 5 or 6 died from a smoke insulation up here, where they died with smoke smothering them in their sleep up here as well. So we're going to turn around the camera. We're going to make our way to Ravensdale. I'm going to record you walking around. We'll do a few spirit box sessions, and then we'll continue our journey through the woods. So let's go. Right, just take a right in there. Yeah. Yeah, just stop there a second. Take a look to your left. That's the famine house in there to the left hand side. That is where the family died with smoke insulation. That is the gamekeeper's cottage as we speak. So what I want you to do is just make your way straight down towards the gamekeeper's cottage. Stop outside and tell me what's your feelings, and I'll tell you I can tell you roughly what I know about the place. Just make your way here to the right hand side down here, and I'll tell you all about it. Yeah. Right, you ready?
Yeah.
Right, this is called the Gamekeeper's Cottage, okay? Sean Waters lived here back in his time, Sean Waters. His job was to plant the trees and the shrubs in here. This is where the family lived. The Waters family lived here for many a generation, until they were actually the last standing of the family who used to live in this house. Can't tell you was there anyone murdered in here, but Sean Waters was able to tell us the spooky stuff that did happen in here. As you can see, people can't see us on the camera. You can see the door there. Yeah. That used to be another bedroom coming in there at the time. But in the top inside, that's where Sean Waters used to sleep. The far window on the top right is where the mother and father used to sleep. But over the years, the youth of today have found this place and they've wrecked it. You used to be able to go upstairs and everything, stay there, but you can still light a fire in there. So what I do is we'll take you in. We'll talk about it more. So just tell me how you feel as you get towards the cottage. Yeah. So that bedroom, the window you see in the middle,
Yeah.
that one there, that's where Sean Waters' mother and father used to sleep, in there. That window there. And this was called the Gamekeeper's Cottage back in its time. So we just go around here. Yeah, just keep going around. Over the years, this place has just fallen apart bit by bit, as you can see. So what we do is we make our way into the left, just into the door. There's only one sitting room, you can't do anything else, just into the door into the left hand side. Just mind your head, just walk straight through and left again. Left again and straight in. Straight in. Right, so what I do is we start you here. Okay, we just come in here in this corner here. Years ago, Dale, when I come here, just stand there, right there, I got you there. So years ago when I used to come here, see the floor ceiling starting to fall here? That ceiling would have been up here. Sean Waters' mother and father slept in this room in here. So the people at home will probably get a better view than I did. That's where Sean Waters' mother and father used to sleep. This was called the Gamekeeper's Cottage. I don't know if you can see the hook. Can you see the hook there? On the ceiling? See the hook? Just put your hand up there at the hook. Can you see it? Can you see the hook?
I see it.
Yeah, well that's the hook where the gamekeeper hung himself. Okay. Right, so we just try and turn on the light. I don't know, will this light work now? Probably won't. That's where the gamekeeper hung himself on that hook for shotting the widow's only son. You can see it there. If you turn right behind me, you'll see a picture of Ian Paisley on the wall. See
oh,
it?
yes,
Over
I
the wall.
see it, yeah.
This is where the Irish Republican Army would have sat here and had the meeting, so they drew pictures of Ian Paisley, see in 1966, you can see it all written, all different graffiti over the walls over the years. This is where they would have had their secret meetings. This is where Sean Waters had their family. I would have sat here, Sean Waters would have sat over here, and this is where you got stone drunk. We used to light big fires in here, and we set the ramp out. There's many of activity, we did get it here, and just shine it up here, some people have their names written on stuff here. See it there? So that was it. So that's the story about this place, Dale. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and do a quick spirit box session here. We're going to turn around the camera and we're going to set it up here so that we'll get the two of us in it. Okay, so we're back in a second. Right, so we're going to leave that somewhere like this so we can get ourselves Seth and Dale in it if we can somewhere. I don't think we're going to be able to do it because we don't want to break it. There we go. Will it stay like that first, Dale? It might stay like that first.
It might, I'd say,
if we walk back. Okay, let's see. I don't know whether to do it now or not. We're going to stay like this for a second, guys. I don't know if it's going to work. We're hanging on a nail on the wall. What we're going to do is we're going to run a spirit box session today. This is where Sean Waters spends 99% of his time with the Waters family. As you can see, it's falling apart. We're in the sitting room. This is a sitting room where Sean Waters would have spent 99% of his time. This is where he shared all his knowledge and his stories. We're going to put on the spirit box. We're going to call out. We're going to leave myself and Dale here, and we're going to turn around eventually. No, actually, we're going to stand here. We're going to leave the spirit box beside the camera. It's going to pick up the audio quicker. We're going to call out here first. So I'm going to call out first, and Dale's going to have a go. Good evening to the spirits of the Gamekeeper's Cottage. My name is Philip and Dale. If you wish to speak to any of us directly, just say Philip or Dale. Sean Waters, the Waters family were the last people that lived in this house. I'm going to switch on the device. If any spirits that wish to communicate, please commute to us to this device. And we're going to switch it on now.
Go to Mr. Jack.
Any spirits can use that device up here and speak to us.
7 points to 4. 24 minutes almost.
Any spirits wish to can you say Philip? Can you say Philip? Is that Dale? Sean Waters?
Busy. Notification.
And, care to actually get the investment.
What happened in his house?
Change the landscape of women's football in this country, how it is now, that we can
What
change it
happened in
over the
this
next
house?
5 to 10 years and really
What happened here?
Women's football.
What happened here? Can you give it a bang?
Make it. What I'm
Not far away from the Knockbridge dugout.
frozen.
What happened in this house?
Composers and people. So they
Right. Right there, what I'm going to do is you hold that in your hand and you give a shout, and I'm going to do is I'm going to keep yourself there and call out. I'm going to do a knock off first. So you can see what I'm trying to say is if we hear anything, if we think that there's something that should come to your own attention, we'll write it up in red on the screen. That's if we only hear anything that we think that should be notified. These are only quick locations that I'm trying to bring Dale to show him when I do my paranormal investigations. These are some of the great locations that can trigger on. So Dale, you're going to just shout out whatever comes to your head. You've never been here before. Before I do, how are you feeling when you walk into this room?
I felt like I wasn't welcome at the start.
Oh yeah?
Wasn't welcome. I felt like there was...
Keep the camera, you're at Caroline, just keep it, that's it,
I
right?
felt like there was definitely bad history here.
Well, there's definitely 100% bad history. You can see all my candles over the years, see them?
Yeah.
They're all my candles over the years when I've been here.
Was it?
So what I can do is just whatever, you heard some of the stories, so whatever stories that ring a bell, if you can ask the spirits of the house to come forward, and can they say your name or my name and this device if they can. This is the only way they can communicate with it. Today's this device, we usually have RAM pods, men meters, EVPs, so we can set them all around the place so that they can activate and set them off. All we have is this device today. So Dave, this is your only chance here before we move on to our next location. Just say whatever comes to your head, just say it. We'll switch it on for a minute and then we'll move on.
Is there any spirits here that want to communicate with myself and Philip Howard here today? We come in peace, there's no harm. We want to see is there any communication on the side. We've been trying to communicate by throwing a rock. What happened in this house?
Underneath this one, it's coming out to me right there. And
If there's anybody there wish to communicate, you can speak to us now. We come in peace and no harm.
Now, my experience, I don't feel anything coming through, but I'm just going to try something. Spirits, can you say Dale or Philip? Or can you say the Walters, the widow's son, murdered, shot, make a bang, throw a stick, try and use the device to communicate with us before we leave. Is it? What did you hear?
Die.
Die, yeah. It says, that's what I'm saying. See, we have so much to do, try and make it in one video. What did you hear then?
Die.
I don't know, do we hear die? But we'll go through the audio. Let's move on to our next location. We could spend here hours and hours and hours, but we want to try and show Dale. He's only up here for the day. He's from Galway. He's going to be hopefully a member of a Garda Síochána in years to come. Please God, he's doing his first exam. When are you doing your first exam?
3 weeks time now.
So he's doing his first exam for Garda Síochána in 3 weeks time. He's to do 3 different stages. So let's keep the fingers crossed that he passes them and he'll be a member of Garda Síochána. Please God. So let's move on to the next location, Dale. And yeah, so if we see it on these investigations that we're doing, we'll write it up in red. So right, just stop it there a second. This is our next location. Okay.
Next location?
Yeah, it's called the Druid Circle. Okay.
Druid Circle?
The Druid Circle is where there's a ring of stones in the middle of this forest here, and it's where people come and do the Ouija boards, the dark side of the paranormal. and people try things, sacrificing cats and whatever, all happen down here. The dark arts, we call it. Never experienced anything unusual down there. Never got anything on spirit boxes, but I will tell you, Sean Walters used to say, the lark in the park will never sing again. The Black Widow, the widow's son. Remember I was telling you about the house down here? Yeah. She put a curse on this part of the wood, because this is where the area where her son was shot dead, and she put a curse on it. She's the lark in the park will never sing again. You won't hear a bird sing, or you won't hear a bird tweet once you walk down there. You'll feel the atmosphere change. It'll get so dark and cold and weary. I want you to experience it, and when we get far as the rocks, you can tell me what you feel. I'll follow you down.
Yes, sir.
And if anything you feel anything as we walk, just talk to it. I'll keep my mouth shut as we're walking down here now. Off you go, just keep walking. Okay. Alright, just stop there now. So what's your impression? I keep the camera on you now, right? So as we're entering, and we came from the top down here.
Darker.
Right.
Much darker.
Now I know it's a bit breezy now, but what kind of atmosphere are you feeling as we walk down here? The reason before you ask, the reason why I'm asking you these questions, because I've been here.
You have been here. I
dozens of times. Do you hear a bird tweet? Do you hear a bird sing?
No.
Do you hear a bird fly?
No.
Are the stories true about the lark in the park? Yes. Don't know. I want you to walk to the Druid circle. I'm going to record you as we go to it, and as we get to it, tell me how you feel. And then what we'll do is, I'm not going to do any paranormal investigation here. This is all on you. This part is going to be on you. You can do the spirit box sessions here. I've done it hundreds of times. And I'm going to take you to one of the biggest trees off the areas. It's just behind you in a few minutes. But as you walk down here, tell me how you feel. Off you go. You probably notice when people see us doing what we're doing, they all like it. Am I right?
You're not wrong. See how it's centred.
Yeah, that's why they call it the Druid circle, the ring of stones. There's only a few of them in Ireland.
Is there? Feels like I shouldn't be around here as well.
Yeah, that's this is where the dark arts. People don't like people to advise them not to step inside the stones. But I'm going to ask you, which I'll join you. I want you to touch every stone as you go along, and I'll follow you. And then when you're ready to do your own spirit box session, you see me doing it now. Get the energy off all the stones. You've one more to go. Now, there is symbols on these stones somewhere. At the bottom, there were symbols back in this time. You can see them here.
Oh yeah, you can see them, can't you?
If you had a bit of water, there was actually markings in each stone.
It's crosses.
Yeah, there was kind of markings. If you had a bottle of water now, you'd be able to see the markings that are in it. I thought it had rain there.
That's an upside down cross.
Yeah.
That is an upside down cross, yeah.
So what I want you to do is pick a stone that you feel, whatever stone that is more drawn to you, pick a stone that is more drawn, and I'll tell you which stone that I always drawn to. So whatever, just take a good look, and whatever stone you feel drawn to, walk to it.
How do you know about this one now? I don't know.
I'll tell you which stone I always draw to. I just want you to walk around, get to know them, look at the stones. There's all markings in every stone.
There is, isn't it?
See, will you be drawn to the same stone that I was drawn to?
Is there a reason why you sent him beside this one?
No.
Doesn't matter, does it?
No. There's one stone that every time I came here, I was drawn to the Druid circle every time I came. Only one stone. And there's one stone that ripped off the rampart at all the time. It was this one. the RAM pod ripped off every time when we ever set it on this one.
This one?
This one here. Whatever's, I don't know what's going on with this stone here, but this stone, every time I left something on it, we got a response.
Did you?
We never got a response on the spirit box. So I'm going to keep out of the spirit box. You were never in a Druid circle before. I've been in it loads of times. So what did you do? You just set it up in your own time, or do you want me to follow you around with it? Whatever you want to do it, I'll follow you around. You're going to, this spirit box session is totally on you now. You can ask the questions, what's a Druid circle, and whatever comes up, we write it on red when I go back over. So off you go. This, I'm going to keep out of this one. You're going to do this one, but don't switch it on until you ask the questions first.
Okay.
Off you go.
Hello, spirits. Myself, Philip Howard, and Dale, our hero of peace. Want to ask a few questions if you're willing to answer them back. We mean no harm. We're coming here to experience this and to make sure that we get a response. And if not, we're here just to ask you guys a few questions. Was there anyone killed here? If you guys are here, give us a sign. Give us a whistle. Give us a name. Shout our names. You do you. Set it up then, will we?
Yeah. So for what I'm trying to say to you, when you use the device that you have in your hand, ask the questions, switch it on, and walk this through its circle edge, and I'll follow you around. So ask the question. Make sure you try and communicate with
As
them
you walk
and let them
around.
know what you're doing. So make sure before you ask the question, switch on the device and then walk the circle.
Walk the circle
So
down.
I always ask first and then switch on. So off you go. Make sure you switch it on first and walk. Stand in the middle of the circle as you're going. Well, I give you an example.
Yeah, I do.
Right, just show that out. So you follow me. Right, switch it on. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give Dale a quick example of what we're going to do here. This is called the Cottage box. It's a spirit box that's able to communicate with the spirit world. This is the Druid circle. It's called the Druid circle of Ravensdale. And what I'm going to do is the spirits are able to communicate by using devices like so. They're able to articulate words and use the radio frequency and spit out the words to communicate with you and let them know what they're feeling in this world today. If you're a believer or non-believer, well, it doesn't matter. This is what we do as researchers, as paranormal investigators. I'm going to switch on. I never ever got a response on a spirit box session ever in the Druid circle. I'm going to show Dale, and Dale's going to repeat whatever way he wants to do it. So I'm going to switch it on. Before I switch it on, I always ask the question first. Good evening to the spirits of Ravensdale. My name is Philip from Paranormal Tech, or known as Ghost Stories today. My son Dale is with me today. My name is Philip, and Dale, if you wish to use the device and speak to us, please do so by using the radio frequencies in this device called the Cottage box. As Dale says, if you feel like to give us a whistle, give us a whistle, give us a shout. There's so many stories in relation to paranormal activity in Ravensdale's Wood, in relation to murder investigations still going on, in relation to Captain Robert Nairac, in relation to the Gamekeeper's Cottage, in relation to the 2 boys were shot in their heads in the car park. Any of these spirits are with us today. Use this device as we walk around, try and manipulate the radio device and try and speak to us. So I'm going to leave it up here, and you just stand here. Can you say Philip or Dale? If you can say stop at whatever stone you want us to stop at, say stop. There's a response there. Just stand here, Dan, you can catch the right way and ask. You can step in now and ask the question.
His own half of the field, he was calling to ask her all.
That's it, Alex. Right, get closer to now and ask questions.
Is there anyone here that want to communicate with us today? Regarding any investigation in the Ravensdale Woods?
Yeah, it was a very serious injury, and I know the injury.
Cottage Johnson coming in there. Isn't it?
Yeah.
On their way home. All I want.
What happened here in this circle?
Don't know what I said.
What happened years ago in this circle?
It just said Robert.
Did it?
Robert Nairac.
What happened in this circle?
I actually tried to say something about Robert.
I said yes.
Yes, yeah.
What happened here in these woods?
Right, we're going to move on now to the next one. If I want to try and say to you, if something's going to happen, it'll happen straight away. I thought I heard Robert. If we did, it'll come up on the screen. We're going to move on over. I just want to show you this day before we move on. We're going to move over to the big tree, and I'm going to ask you questions how you felt about that. Just come up here and I'll show you the biggest tree in Ravensdale. Before we do it, what's your impressions about that, about the ring there before we move?
It felt very dark. It was a very dark communication we were trying to get access to.
Yeah.
Felt like we weren't obviously allowed in that circle, but we came in peace obviously. And
Right, so what we'll do now, Dale, we'll go over here and I'll show you this big huge tree. You won't even put your arms around it. And then we'll move on to, there's only one more location, believe it or not, left.
another location.
Yeah, after this, and then we'll finish it off in one place. We won't tell them where we're going to go next, but it's on the way home. But see here on the left hand side, just I'm going to record you going down there, and you can see the biggest tree in Ravensdale. Just can I go down this way here, or whatever way you think it's handier for you. Yeah, here, the biggest tree in Ravensdale. Just I'll record you from here, and I'm going to show you how big it is when Dale stands beside it. Yeah. Huge, isn't it? Put your arms around it. Right, just put your arms up wide and show, just kind of show how wide. And kind of go like this with two hands and stand right beside it, and that's how wide. Yeah, keep going right in the middle. Yeah, put your arms up wide. That's how wide the tree is. It's huge, isn't it? Huge. Big tree. Right, we'll move over to the next location. Right there, we're on our next location.
what's the next one?
This is a bridge. You can hear the water behind us. Well, in one of our investigations over the years, Sean Walters says that Captain Robert Nairac was built into a bridge.
Captain Robert Nairac.
Yeah.
What's the background information of Captain Robert?
Right. Captain Robert Nairac was a British intelligence army soldier man. That's him there, picture of him on the screen there. He was involved in the times back in the Troubles in the Northern Ireland, when the British Army were brought into Northern Ireland where the Troubles were fights, okay? The Miami Showband, this cut a long story short, there's a picture there of the Miami Showband. They were a showband that travelled throughout the world and travelled throughout the whole of Ireland in the bad times. It doesn't matter if you're Protestant or Catholic, everybody got well and mixed together. But the English people back in the time didn't like that up there in the north of Ireland. They didn't like the Protestants and the Catholic mixing together, but they did. They enjoyed the music, and that was behind the Miami Showband. They got the people out rock and roll, and the good times were ahead. And the story goes that the Miami Showband were coming from Banbridge, not too far away from here. They were travelling to their next location for their next showband. And they were stopped like like how would I put it to you, like a guard at checkpoint. But they were IRF, or they were British soldiers dressed in uniform, but they weren't a part of the British soldiers. or they weren't part of the IUF. I think I pronounced that wrong, or I might pronounce it right. I'm not 100% sure. But anyway, cut along story, there was people dressed in uniforms. They were stopped. They stopped the Miami Showband coming home from a showband back in its time. They lined them up against the wall, and at the time there was evidence given that they were trying to implant a homemade device, a bomb, into the back of the Miami Showband's van, to making out that they were part of the bombings in Belfast, in and around Ireland. They tried to put the blame on them,
Right.
but it fell back on them. As they lined up the Miami Showband on the line outside of the road, one of the band members asked could he go back to the van to take out his trumpet, because it was a very expensive bit of equipment back in the time. As he was going back into the van to take out the trumpet, they could see that there was two soldiers and a posh soldier dressed in a uniform putting the device underneath the front seat of the van, a bomb. They lined them up at the time outside Banbridge, and the device went wrong. It blew up in front of them. Okay, the Miami Showband, with the bang of the explosion, threw them in over the hedge behind them. There was a massive explosion. The van went up in fire, and some of the soldiers that were putting the device, they were killed, and whoever was still left remaining from the blast, the British intelligence soldier at the time, known as today as Captain Robert Nairac, gave orders to shoot and leave nobody standing.
Jeez.
They shot everyone to their death. They got the lead singer of the Miami Showband and shot him in the head to kill him. One of the survivors of the Miami Showband was able to hear a British soldier saying, "Leave nobody standing," for any witnesses. But unfortunately, at the time, they thought everybody was dead, but there was two survivors, and they were able to continue the story in relation today of the ongoing investigation of the Miami Showband. A lot of stuff was hidden, and making out the Miami Showband were completely wrong, but it's been proven in the courts recently, with new evidence found it, that they were totally 100% innocent, the Miami Showband, that they were trying to plant a bomb and blame the Miami Showband for it. But it's believed that Captain Robert Nairac, even to this day, was behind the massacre of the Miami Showband. There's people out there that would disagree, and there's people out there that will agree. But it's a story that lies here in the Ravensdale Wood. Why the Ravensdale Wood? Because at the time there's a pub not too far away from here, Dale, known as the Three Steps Pub. The Three Steps Pub here, just below the Cooley Mountains. How you doing? Are you well? Known as the Cooley Mountains. And they dragged Captain Robert Nairac out of that pub that night. How they knew it was Captain Robert Nairac is because he was seen in a few different locations in Belfast singing IRA songs and having the crack with the people, and the band members that were in the Three Steps pub that night spotted him in it because they knew him from other locations and different pub nights. How do I know it? Sean Walters was able to fill us in with all this information. But anyway, cut long story short, he was taken and kidnapped from the Three Steps pubs not too far away from this location, and he was interrogated under a bridge not too far away from the car park. He was interrogated by cutting his fingers off, he was cutting his ears off, blah blah blah. He got a severe beating. Sean Walters was able to tell us that a member of the Irish Republican Army, they got a phone call. He arrived here in these woods, and in relation to Captain Robert Nairac, they couldn't get the information out of him, and they said he was a true soldier, that he would not give out the leaks that in relation to whatever happened. The man went through the woods, brought out a sawn-off shotgun, and Sean Walters told me that the first bullet missed, but the second bullet went through his head. He was buried on an unmarked grave not too far away from here in 3 different locations over the years. I did meet a man here, so when I heard the story, it sounds a great story to tell everybody in relation to paranormal activity, in relation to another murder investigation. I told you loads of them already. I've done loads of paranormal investigations down here, got a load of response in relation, I'm completely innocent in relation to Captain Robert Nairac. I got a load of response. There was actually a woman as well from England who came out here, and she was psychic, and she was able to pinpoint the location where the body was. But they didn't get any permission from the Irish government to go digging up graves or find and today his body still lies in that area. How do I know? Is because back a few years ago I met an old man walking through the woods here again, not Sean Waters, and he said that his body is in an unmarked grave under a few leaves and stones. There's a few bones and pieces missing, he says, over the years where foxes and badgers have taken him, but his body is still lying there. That was 4 years ago that I met that man.
Hello and welcome to the programme. It's nearly 40 years since the abduction and killing of undercover British soldier Captain Robert Nairac. Since then, rumours, myths and allegations have surrounded his military record, how he died and how his body was disposed of. He's one of the so-called disappeared, and despite an amnesty for anyone who gives information to the Commission searching for his body, no information has been forthcoming. Barry Cummins examines some of the many claims surrounding the case of this undercover soldier.
"40 years ago, an undercover British soldier was abducted and killed by the IRA. Captain Robert Nairac had gone undercover into Republican heartland alone. What was he doing there?
Well, that's the $64,000 question, isn't it? No one really knows what Nairac was doing.
Brave or reckless, he never returned to base. His body has never been found. Rumour had it his body was put through a meat grinder. Robert Nairac's life and death are shrouded in mystery.
We have learned that surveillance and monitoring was incredibly dense. Many more things were going on than anyone suspected.
We have new information on Robert Nairac's service in the British Army, and we hear from those searching for the disappeared that his body can be found.
We have it on good authority that he was buried and that he wasn't disposed of in the meat processing plant.
Here that Captain Nairac is believed to have come on Saturday night. According to an IRA statement, he was recognised from photographs, abducted, interrogated and then killed.
So peaceful, so tranquil, in an area steeped in history. It's hard to imagine that 40 years ago it was so different here.
I think it was Northern Ireland generally that you had a kind of cowboy atmosphere. I mean, that was really the genesis of the undercover war.
I specifically worked mostly in the Belfast area.
Yeah.
So West Belfast was my patch.
Right. Like his friend, William Burke was an undercover British soldier. He's now a priest in the south of England.
I was a soldier in the British Army. After Robert's death, I felt particularly bad about his death. Partly I felt bad because I felt I could have done the job and not got killed.
Robert Nairac is one of the disappeared, killed and secretly buried during the Troubles. But who was Robert Lawrence Nairac? Born in Mauritius to Barbara, a Protestant, and Morris, a Catholic, he went to private Catholic school at Ampleforth, then on to Lincoln College, Oxford, and studied medieval history.
Well, he was chiefly interested in animals. His first tame thing was a snake. Then he had a polecat ferret, which lived inside his shirt.
At school, he made friends with an Irish student, bringing his car by ferry to spend time in Ireland. He visited his friends in Dublin and stayed with the family in Spiddle, in the Connemara Gaeltacht. He was an expert angler and falconer. Robert Nairac had an attachment with Ireland.
He's one of these non-Irish people that fell in love with Ireland. He just loved the place. I was surprised he didn't learn Gaelic, actually. Given his chance, he probably would have bothered to.
In 1971, aged 23, Robert Nairac joined the British Army, enlisting in the Grenadier Guards. He was first posted to Northern Ireland 2 years later to Belfast, becoming well known patrolling the streets of Ardoyne.
In the first few years, things were very fluid in the conflict. When the British Army arrived, they were very happy to negotiate and talk to IRA members, and they did even for the first 2 years of the conflict. And subsequently, the British government talked to the IRA carefully and in secret, but in quite a serious way in 1972 and again in 1975.
However, by the time Robert Nairac returned for his fourth tour of duty, by now an experienced military intelligence officer based at Bessbrook Barracks, the situation was very different.
By 1977, when Robert Nairac was killed, things were starting to freeze.
So where we're going now, William, is up to Flurry Bridge, up to Ravensdale, where the killing took place. This is where Robert Nairac was kicked, punched, beaten, and finally shot. This is his friend's first time here. Robert Nairac would have been held down under the bridge and questioned. In all of what was happening, I think some shots were fired under the bridge, but then he made his way over here over to the field, and whatever distance, some distance into the field, is where ultimately he was killed. Those who know where his remains may be will have no time for the British Army.
Of course not, I understand that.
What do you say to them?
Please, maybe have him back to inter his mortal remains according to the rites and formaries of his culture and upbringing. Maybe have his remains for a Catholic funeral mass of his family and his friends. Just sad, really. I mean, just what a waste. Not just for him, for everybody. I mean, the whole wretched business of the Troubles, really. And the bitterness and the stuff, and I'm just glad it's gone. I'm glad we've all moved on. It was sad for him and his family.
Robert Nairac left Bessbrook Army Base at 9:30 p.m, his Browning pistol hidden in an underarm holster beneath his jacket. He drove his red Triumph to the 3 Steps Inn, parked and radioed back to base at 10. He was due back at 11:30. Saturday night, and the pub was packed. A live band played rebel songs. Robert Nairac was that night calling himself Danny Mackerleen, an official IRA man from West Belfast. With his long hair and casual dress, he chatted away comfortably with people. He got up on stage to sing 2 songs.
He was very good in a West Belfast accent. He had a great friend, a mutual friend of ours, who was an Irishman, who coached him endlessly. He used to go around cars with him. He had a very good West Belfast accent, very good.
But what Nairac was doing was probably contacting someone that evening or watching someone in particular. So therefore, when everything went wrong, I don't think they really knew what to do.
Some locals were getting suspicious.
It certainly looks very impromptu, and the fact that it happens after a night in the pub, in the car park, when people's judgment is perhaps not as good as it might be otherwise, but also kind of an action that's taken without any great thought as to where it will lead.
Robert Nairac was set upon. In the struggle, his gun fell to the ground. He was beaten and forced into a car which sped across the border to County Louth.
It's difficult to keep a cover story up. It seems extraordinarily reckless. It It seems extraordinarily dangerous. It may be that many other British soldiers did reckless things that we don't know about, and that this was more common than you might think. It does seem, however, not something that fits in with a well-thought-out operation.
We know that the people who abducted him and murdered him that night left him in the field. His body was moved within the days immediately following those events of the evening, and he was buried. We understand that he was then moved from that location and reburied somewhere else, and maybe even reburied yet again.
Something was said to me when I was writing The Dirty War, that after Nairac was killed, the rail men came in. Now, who were the rail men? From my perspective, I think that those were the leaders of the IRA at South Armagh.
These are two weapons recovered during the investigation into the murder of Robert Nairac. This .32 caliber pistol was brought to the scene at Ravensdale by an IRA man later convicted of Robert Nairac's murder. This Browning pistol was Robert Nairac's, which he dropped when overpowered at Drummond and was brought to the murder scene by his captors. We still don't know if one or both of these weapons were used to kill him. Robert Nairac's shoulder holster was also found in follow-up searches. Statements taken from some of the gang involved that night say that despite being kicked, punched and beaten with these sticks, Robert Nairac never betrayed his true identity. He tried to escape, but was hopelessly outnumbered. A myth was created that Robert Nairac's body had been destroyed in a meat grinder.
It was a story put about by those personally involved. It was really about distracting attention from this area. After the murder scene was found, there was an enormous search here undertaken by the Garda Síochána.
Clearly, he would have been very valuable to the IRA if this was a planned operation. He would have lots of information. They had great experience in interrogating people. The fact that they beat him in that way and that he was then killed speaks instead of a kind of a botched, impromptu set of events that ended in this way.
Look, people know what happened. South Armagh was very, very tight, had a very tight leadership. The IRA generally, I think, at the Army Council level, they would have known what happened to Nairac's body.
The Commission for the Location of Victims' Remains says one of the reasons there is such silence in the Nairac case is due to what they say are wild allegations that he was involved in a number of atrocities in the mid-70s. The Commission has investigated Robert Nairac's military service and has released information to Primetime.
In his case, uniquely, we've tried to undertake a degree of research into his background because of these stories and really to find out whether they were fact or fiction. And we've not found a shred of evidence anywhere to support any of these what effectively are wild allegations that he was involved in murder and mayhem and atrocities.
Fran O'Toole was the lead singer with Ireland's most popular group, the Miami Showband.
I didn't even know your name. I didn't care 'cause I was searching.
Fran and the Showband were household names, playing to packed audiences on both sides of the border. Most of the Loyalist victims would have been unknown outside their immediate community. Their names would appear and then be forgotten. The UVF planned to change all that.
You gotta smile a little more. I wasn't meant to be a mover.
Fran and the band had been playing in the north in Banbridge and were heading home to Dublin. Just outside Newry, they were stopped at a checkpoint. One of the band members was Stephen Travers.
they started joking with us, asking us how the gig went and saying, I bet you'd rather be at home than be here. You'd rather be at home in bed. So we're obviously joking with them. And Brian McCoy, who was the trumpet player, singer in the band, nudged me and said, don't worry, Steve. He said, this is an army checkpoint.
But it wasn't. It was the UVF masquerading as soldiers. 2 of them planted a bomb in the back of the Showband's van. It seems they intended it to explode across the border so the world would think the band were terrorists.
The bomb went off when they closed the back of the personnel van and instantly killed the 2 guys that were standing at the van. One of them had just pushed me.
The explosion threw Stephen Travers in the air. The UVF then shot him with dum-dum bullets. They exploded inside him, shattering into 13 pieces.
The next thing I remember was I could hear Fran O'Toole and I think Tony Garrity, who was my best friend in the band. We were very close. He was the lead guitarist, crying, saying, please don't shoot me, don't kill me. And then I heard the gunfire, so they killed them, obviously. I was told later that they, as I say, Fran was the good-looking lead singer, and they shot him 22 times in the face.
Two of the UVF men arrested for the massacre were soldiers of the Ulster Defence Regiment, part of the British Army. They were sentenced to life in the compounds of Long Kesh. Once inside, they joined other loyalists who regarded themselves as prisoners of war and acted just like them. This remarkable film was secretly shot by the UDA and smuggled out of the prison. Parades and inspections like this were routine. UVF prisoners did the same under the command of Gusty Spence.
It was all known British Army lines. There was a regime, a regiment, that reveille was 8 o'clock in the morning, a 5-mile run or a 3-mile run, depending on the weather. And then showers, breakfast, muster parade, and then the day was laid out.
When I first met him, I marched into his makeshift office, if you like. He's dressed totally in black with a Sam Brown and a belt and a cap comforter, and he is, I have to say, he's a figure of authority. He's charismatic.
Spence knew that loyalist prisoners had one fatal flaw. They knew all about guns and bombs, but nothing about history and politics.
Me there, like it was stupid what he was doing, you know. I come around one of the bends and suddenly this car that had passed me earlier is sitting in the middle of the road and the lights are flashing. And I remember thinking, well, there's something wrong with that guy's battery, but it's 2 o'clock in the morning, damned if I'm stopping, you know.
As Brian Maguire drove the car on towards Dublin, the van with band members Fran, Des, Steve, Tony and Brian McCoy followed only a few minutes behind.
Got to the dual carriageway on the way towards Newry, and we were flagged down by at a checkpoint. Again, nothing unusual, really.
We saw a group of men that we thought were normal soldiers doing their job, with torches, etc., and military hardware. And they asked us to get out of our van, which we did, and we lined up alongside the road.
Some of them had UDR uniforms on them. Not that I would have known, but I was assured when we were standing in the line-up by Brian McCoy, he said a strange thing. He said, "Don't worry about this," he said, "Steve, because this is army."
They seemed pretty friendly towards us, to be honest with you. I cannot say that there was anything that made us suspicious whatsoever.
But the band had not been stopped by UDR soldiers. It was a gang of loyalist paramilitaries. As the 5 musicians lined up by the side of the road, 2 members of the gang opened the back of the van.
Because somebody was at the back of the van, I thought, these fellas are going to disturb my guitar. So I took my hands down and turned back indignantly and asked the guy, what are you doing there? You're not supposed to do that. And so that'll tell you how I perhaps didn't take it as seriously as I should have.
All of a sudden, just this huge bang. And I just heard gunfire going off, screaming, crying, everything, and I didn't know really what was happening.
A bomb had exploded. In the chaos following the explosion, the loyalist gang opened fire.
The whole world turned red, and I was in the air. While I was in the air, I'm told that I was shot with a dum-dum bullet, which is an explosive bullet, and I was shot in the right hip, and it exploded inside me, and part of it went right through my body and through my lung.
In the hail of gunfire, Fran, Brian and Tony had also been shot by the terrorists.
All I remember was I was blown off the road into the ditch with the explosion, and the ditch started catching fire.
When things quietened down, some of them got down into the field and were checking. I could hear these footsteps coming across. I was lying with my face down in the grass. I couldn't decide whether or not to kneel up and put my hands up and beg for my life, or stay where I was. And I suppose I did the right thing. I didn't budge. As he approached me, I heard somebody on the road shouting, "Come on, I got those bastards with dum-dums, they're dead." And miraculously, this man turned and I could hear the footsteps walk away from me.
I realized I had to get out of the ditch, basically, or else I was going to be burnt alive. So I had no other alternative but to actually run. Not knowing where these guys were or anything, I had to run for my life. It was then when I got onto the road that I realized something horrific had happened. A lot of horrific scenes all around the place. And there was a truck that came along, and I tried to flag the truck down to give me assistance. I even offered to get on the back of the truck, not inside the coach, and he wouldn't let me do it. I then flagged another car down, and there was a young guy and his girlfriend in the car, and they politely offered to take me to Newry police station.
Eventually the police came down into the field. First inclination that I had that there were other people, that people had arrived, was I could hear the nasal effect walkie-talkie type voices.
The police had arrived on a horrifying scene. By morning, the full extent of the carnage was clear.
And the man is probably dead even today. So that's the story of relation to Captain Robert Nairac.
It's very interesting. Yeah.
So what I'm going to get you to do is, I want you to feel the presence of Captain Robert as you're going over this bridge, making your way down to the car park. And when I say stop, stop, and then you can do your own spirit boxes. One of the reasons I'm asking Dave to do the spirit boxes is because I've done thousands of them over the years, and this is where the investigation starts in relation to Captain Robert Nairac. So off you go in your own way, and I'll follow you down, and then we'll finish it off there. So don't rush really into the spirit boxes until you feel in your own way, you say, oh, I think I'll do.
Robert Nairac, later described as an undercover SAS hero, disappeared from this bar in Fork Hill, South Armagh. It's believed he was taken away by IRA gunmen who tortured and then murdered him. That was 10 years ago, but despite wide-scale inquiries by the army, his body's never been found. 2 years before his death, the Dublin-based Miami Showband was wiped out in a bomb and gun attack at Newry. 2 former members of the Ulster Defence Regiment were later jailed for the killings. Now Mr. Livingston has claimed that Captain Nairac may have organised the attack and that there's forensic evidence to support it.
Here. Yeah. And I tell you, if you're far off it, or you see, do you pick up where I used to do my investigations? This is the bridge where Sean Walter says that he was told that his body was built into the bridge. But no, as I told you, the man said he's not built into the bridge. His body is buried not too far away from here somewhere. Where? I don't know.
Unknown.
But this is your first time walking here.
It is my first time.
So what I want you to do, when you feel uncomfortable or you feel there's something not right, then switch it on. See, do you pick up the same areas that I picked them up over the years? So just keep walking straight down. Keep going all the way down. We're not turning left where we came up, we're going straight down. Just take your time and tell me what are you feeling so far when you hear that story. What's your impressions of it?
It's just, yeah, it's a obviously an unknown case to the body. Obviously number of years that he's been here and he's been unknown, unfound. All these stories link up to one big massive case. It's just kind of
yeah.
I don't know, it just feels like a lot here hasn't been settled.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of sadness here, and a lot of murder and anger. And it's just trying to figure out what exactly is where, and I don't know.
Well, one of the reasons why I'm asking you to do this now, Dale, is just to see, can you pick up on what I picked up over the years, and when you feel uncomfortable, switch on that spirit box. When I'm asking you to switch on the spirit box, you know how to do it now. You know what the questions. But I tell you if you're right or wrong, if you feel uncomfortable, because one of the reasons why I'm asking you to do this is because you might pick up on what I picked up. Someone who has been here for the first time, the spirit would actually grow on you quicker than a first timer coming here. There's loads of people that come through these woods and they wouldn't have a clue. Yeah, you're right. So you just keep going up and up and up. There's loads of people who walk these trails.
It's a big forest.
It's a big forest.
Big
thousands
forest.
of acres. Anybody could go missing.
Big forest.
So you're heading the right direction. That's all I say. I'm not going to tell you anymore, but you're heading the right direction. There is 3 different locations down here in relation to Captain Robert Nairac, and 3 different locations you will feel unease. But I'm going to step back and see what you pick up, because you may be lucky.
Just heading back down to Casey Water, is it?
Yeah. Just if you feel uncomfortable or you feel that somewhere's drawing you, just go where your energy is drawing you to. Wherever you feel you want to walk to. It doesn't matter. Just go where you think.
Keep looking over there for some reason.
Yeah, well, this is your investigation now, so I will just see, will you end up in the same place where I ended up in?
Too far away from here, is that?
I'll tell you if you passed it or not.
Pass it?
No.
Oh. I'm about to.
At the moment it is 22 degrees. I'm supposed to take Dale on a fishing trip, but it's too warm. Water temperatures are 17, 18 degrees, too warm for fishing.
This area, no?
You're not far off it, but I just want to see where you have to say where you want to stop. Just wherever you feel, never mind what I feel. When your guts feel and says, I want to do a spirit box session here, that's where I'll stop, and I'll tell you if you're in the same location as I am. Fuck. No, that's just from stopping bikes going off to the left, right.
Wait for these down, will we?
Yeah, I just went. How are you feeling at this point? Where do you think? Where are you drawn to?
I don't know. I think I'm drawn to near enough here anyway. Wait for these folks to pass.
Yeah.
Me.
So as you see, the trail goes all the way down, and you will just let these people go past us up, and you're in the right location, but it's just where you're going to go. So where are you heading?
Heading down here.
Right, so we'll just follow you. How are you feeling there?
Here.
Hmm?
Here. This location.
Right, that's the first location in between the trees where I encountered the spirit box in. I'm absolutely innocent. Okay, this is one location. This is the track. When you get far as the stone, I want you to stop at the stone. So you go in here, ask the questions here, and we'll see what happens in here. See will you get the same response. This is the area where I did a spirit box session, where Captain Robert.
Area, was it?
Yeah, when you mentioned the name Captain Robert Nairac to come forward, this is where he shouted through the device, and I'm absolutely innocent. And I'll explain about this area here in a few minutes. Okay, so off you go in your own time. I'm going to ask the questions.
Good evening. Myself and Dale, Philip, Howard here, just to ask a few questions. We come in no harm, come in peace. We're just here to talk to Captain Robert Nairac. If you're here today with us, or anyone involved in the situation, please come forward and say hello. By throwing a rock or a whistle, we mean no harm. So Captain Robert Nairac, if you're here, make anything you want.
Or use the device you have in your hand.
Or you can talk to the device I have in my hand.
Make sure you keep the device on and face it towards me and let me know what's happening.
If anyone's there at all today with us, you can talk with us through this device I have in my hand.
I heard field.
Captain Robert Nairac, I'm speaking directly towards you. We mean no harm. If you're there with us, you can talk with us through this device I have in my hand. What happened in this area? Don't be afraid.
For me, this is where their nerves are most at them, and
Alright, just switch it off there. Alright, so I'm getting nothing there.
Nothing in this area at all.
So what I want you to do, I want you to just stop here now. What I want you to do is just make your way slowly down the track and stop at the rock. And when you get at the rock, then I'll explain to you why I'm going to get you to stop at the rock. And that's where I want you to do your next spirit box session is at the rock. Okay?
The rock, is it?
Alright, okay. We'll just slow down there a second now, mate. Just come back here again before we do it. There's a lot of people walking by now. So what I want you to do is just make your way to the rock and then stop at the rock.
At the rock, is it?
Yeah, off you go. And I'll explain the story about the rock in a few minutes, okay? And at any stage you feel an edge, just let me know straight away what you're feeling.
Right in front here.
Anywhere between your left and your right as you're walking down. And as you get to the rock, then will you stop? And I explain to you then why I want you to stop at the rock.
Right.
Right, as you stand beside the rock, this is the area where I met the old man, and he says that Captain Robert Nairac's body is directly behind you. Yeah, that location. He's in an unmarked shallow grave. Yeah. So what I want you to do now is I want you to continue on and stop at the tree in the middle. Yeah. Just there to the right hand side where you see the tree broken down to the right. Yeah, just stand there and I'll show you why I'm going to get you standing there now. Right behind you. Right. Just stand there now and face me. I'm just going to hold it there. Right. So you can see the area here in front of you on the left hand side as we're walking up the track. Right. This is the area where I met the old man who lives not too far away from here. And this is where he told me where he walks every day. He walks up and down this track. There's an old bricket fence that runs from the borderline between here and the wood. He says that his body is thrown along the fence. Okay, that's all I'm saying, not saying anything else. He says that's where his body is. He said it's been moved in 3 or 4 different locations over the years. Okay, now I've done spirit boxes here, got weird stuff. I got banshees coming in screaming. I got loads of different shite here in this location. Okay, this is where the medium woman. I'm going to bring you where she brought in a sniffer dog in here, and she pinpointed not too far away the location. Up there, I'm telling you, is where I'm going to show you in a few minutes where the man says where he's buried. She brought another British soldier brought a medium woman here, and she was able to pinpoint the location where he's buried. Possibility she could have pinpointed one of the locations where he was buried over the years. The man in question, the old man in the question, says that he was buried off the track up here on the left hand side. So what we're going to do is I'm going to walk Dale in, and I tell him to stop where the woman was, pinpointed the location. So in you go, straight in there. Keep going straight in, all the way in. Just kind of fight. You kind of see it. There's a kind of a track in there where you can see where somebody has been walking every day. Can you see it? Keep going. This man who was involved in Captain Robert Nairac, believe it or not, he's probably dead now, but this is where he walked every day. Went to see his body every day in the wood. Bingo! What do you see in front of you?
Oh, yes.
Right. So this is the area in question where Captain Robert Nairac's body is located. Never seen that before. That's a new one.
Is it?
I've never seen that before.
Is it not?
No. Never seen that one. Now the reason why that is there, right? Okay, you see it there, the stones.
Yeah.
That is not where Captain Robert Nairac's body is.
It's not?
No. This is where the medium woman came with her dogs, okay? Now, there is probably a man watching this, because he watches my videos. He's a British intelligence soldier. He brought the medium woman in here with her sniffer dogs, and the sniffer dog was able to pinpoint this location here where Captain Robert Nairac's body is, okay? The question that I have is, if she was so much willing and she had so much powers, how come she wasn't able to talk directly to him, saying, this is where he is, and why haven't they dug it up and took his body out? I can tell you now, Dale, this is not where he's buried. Okay? See it there? See the stones? They put this down here in remark of Captain Robert Nairac. The man in question lives not too far away from here. He said his body's... See the main road here? When they killed Captain Robert Nairac, they dragged his body up here. Yes, he was buried in an unmarked grave. Take a look. See where we walked across?
Yeah.
One of the locations. Over the years, they changed his body in three or four different locations. Come on, I'll show you. Here's one. See how it's all sunk?
Yeah.
That's one location. That's all I can tell you. That's where Sean Walters is. That's possibly one location. The last location is somewhere up along the fence here. So if you're watching, there is the fence going all the way up along. Captain Robert Nairac's body is thrown along the hedge, up along there. That's all I can tell you. That's all I have been told, that his body has been thrown up along the ditch on the right side. Yes, his body was in 3 or 4 different locations over the years. Although card, look. Can we get another one?
Here, more.
Huh? Can we get another one? We get loads of them.
Ladies.
Yeah? Good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right, so what I've been told Dale over the years is his body was moving to 3 different locations. Here, that area there was 1, over here beside us was 2, and his last destination was up there on the 3rd. That's all I know. I met a man out there. He wanted to walk up along here and show me where his body was. I refused to do it. I didn't want anything to do with it. So what I want you to do in your own time, do your own spirit box session in relation to Captain Robert Nairac, in there where that marked grave is there, which is not, and I want you to walk somewhere where you think that you feel free to walk up along there, not too far, because he's not far from the road. I was told he's on up along that wire. Just go where your gut feeling brings you, and we'll do a spirit box session on you. Off you go. So you just start down there, call out on Captain Robert Nairac. Do you know what I have? I've actually Dowsing rods in the boot. I should bring them up. I tell you what, we're going to freeze it there, right? I'll run back to the car and get the Dowsing rods.
So, Philip, my dad's gone back to the car just to get a few bit more equipment. Now this is my very first time kind of doing this with him. I am very interested in the whole paranormal side of things in life, and this is all a new experience to me, kind of investigating with them and stuff. But right now, as I speak, I'm beside, you can see it here, Captain Robert Nairac's, I wouldn't say grave where he's buried at the moment. So what I'm going to do while he's gone there now, to be cute, I'm going to do my own little spirit box, as he says. But like I said, this is my very first time encountering this kind of a thing, and it's like some other horror film I'm in. But look, I'm going to try and do it myself and see how I get on. So try and set it up here. So I'm going to do it while he's gone, just see if I get it order. So I'm here at Captain Robert Nairac's grave, or burial spot. I mean no harm, as I'm sitting here today with you. I just want to see, can I get any experience or any encounter in the other side of the spirit world. So Captain Robert Nairac, if you're here, you can communicate in this orange device I held in my left side here. I mean no harm. I'm just here to find out any stories about your background. So Captain Robert, if you're here with me today, could you speak with me to this device I held in my hand? Nothing there. If you're here with me, Captain Robert Nairac, you can speak with me through this device.
No, we. Yeah.
There's nothing there. You can say.
Right there.
What happened here? Right, I'm just going to switch it off here. I'll put the came back there now.
Right, any look? What's happening?
Nothing there.
You get anything?
Nothing so far. Nothing so far.
You pick anything, no?
No, nothing so far.
Right, so what we're going to do is we're going to press... No, we're not going to even press anything, we're going to keep it going. Nothing came through.
Nothing came through.
Right,
yet.
so what I'm going to do is I'm going to press pause, and we're going to flick something over today, and we're going to start something different this time. I'm going to leave the spirit box session on. I'm going to show Dale the Dowsing rods. This is the location where these people have marked where Captain Robert Nairac remains are. I don't believe so. These are up there to the left hand side, and these Dowsing rods are going to hopefully point in the direction where he is located. So I'm going to switch this on, and I want you to pay attention to the Dowsing rods next. Okay, these are the Dowsing rods, and I'm going to put them up straight like this. Can you see me there, Dave?
Mm-hmm.
I hear branches breaking in there. Can you? Okay, if the spirit of Captain Robert Nairac is around me, please make the letter X in this. And straighten them up there now, If Captain Robert Nairac is here, make the letter X to locate that I am speaking directly to Captain Robert Nairac. Straighten them up if Captain Robert Nairac spares his around them. Straighten them up, point them towards the man with the phone with the camera. Make the letter X if Captain Robert Nairac is here. Straighten them out again, please. Okay, now watch this there, watch. If this is Captain Robert Nairac communicating with us, make the letter X if you wish to communicate with us, please. Make the letter X if you wish to make... What I'm trying to say, if Captain Robert Nairac is here, make the letter X. I'll just turn this off for a minute. If Captain Robert Nairac is here, I want to make the letter X, but we're going to turn it around this way. We're going to say, if Captain Robert Nairac is here, I want him to turn the devices back to me. Okay? So here we go. So we're going to point them towards you this time. You got it? So the devices are, they're straight. You can see they're straight. You can see them straight. Captain Robert Nairac's spirit is here. Straighten them up and point them to the man that's standing in front of me. That's one. Now do the other one as well. Point them to the man that's standing in front of me. Okay, so you can see they're swinging. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
So if Captain Robert Nairac is here, the wind is blowing them as well now. If Captain Robert Nairac is here, can you turn these devices behind my head to let me know that you're willing to cooperate with us? There's one, and there's two. See it? Now you think, oh, blah blah blah, that's the wind is doing, but you're going to experience yourself, right? Now watch this. Captain Robert Nairac, if I'm standing where the location where your body is now, can you please make the letter X? If this is not the location where you're buried, please point them behind my head. Am I standing on the location where you're buried? X for yes, back for no. See? Back for no. So now I'm going to ask him to point in the direction where his body is, and I believe that he's over there, right? Let's see, does it do it? Okay. Right, Captain Robert, this is, if you cannot speak to us by using this spirit box, this is the only way that you can communicate to the people of the world today. If the stories are true, point these in the direction where your body is marked in an unmarked grave. Now, use the devices, point them in the direction where your body is buried. See? Over there. Told you, they're pointing it just over there. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to get Dale to hold them. Now the key of holding these, Dale, is, right, I'm just going to show you this, don't hold them too tight. See how I have my 4 fingers and the one outside it and the thumb up like that, right, and just see, can you do it there? Just stand there and let's see, can I do the same thing, and then we're going to see. Just feel the power of them, keep them straight up. Now can you keep your fingers behind it like this? I'll show you, look. See how I have 3 fingers and one behind? Right up like that. Now keep 3 up, 1 behind, and then put your thumb up where your finger, that's it. And let them swing around, and then try and straighten them up the best you can and point them straight towards me. Right? Get them up straight, higher, that's it. Now, if they swing around, don't mind it, that means get them back from your body. Now ask the question, kind of straighten them up. Ask the spirit to straighten them up.
Captain Robert Nairac, straighten up these pieces of metal here in front of me, please.
Let Dale feel your energy, straighten them up. Now keep your arms wide. You need to relax and let them swing. I keep them like that. I keep them like that. Let them flop around. If they flop around, that means you're getting their energy. Can you feel them flopping around?
Yeah.
Okay. Leave like that. Okay, that means your body's too close to them. Kind of out your arms. That's it, like that. Okay. If Captain Robert Nairac is here, point them devices towards me. Keep your arms as still as you can, Dale. Point them towards me. Let Dale feel your energy. If you understand what we're doing, you make the letter X. If you understand what we're trying to do, make the letter X. Thank you. Now straighten them out again. Straighten them out again. Straighten them towards me if this is Captain Robert Nairac. Thank you. Please point them in the direction where you are buried now, please, to Dale. Point them in the direction where you're buried. Move them in the direction where your unmarked grave is. Okay, yes, go on. Push them. 2 of them. Point them in the direction where you're buried, please. And the other one. Move the other one, and that Dale can't understand why you're moving them. Point them in the direction where your body is buried. See? And the other one. Told you, that direction over there. So let's go over there now. Right, Dale, so just stop there a second, Dale. So this is the fence where I'm telling you, where the man says that there's the main road. If anybody's watching from England, there's the road. And he says that they threw his body over there, that direction, and his body was moved in 3 different locations. His final destination is along this fence here on the right hand side. Now I don't know where it is, but we're going to walk it and see what you feel, Dave. And we'll do a spirit box and we'll end it up there then. Now it's been 4 years ago since I seen that man, and he said along that ditch, and we're walking the ditch as we speak. It could be. It could even be in there, but he says, he said you couldn't pass, you wouldn't miss it. It's under a few brambles. He says, whatever he meant by that. So watch that tree there. I'm just going to go to where I'm feeling, Dale, right? And I'm feeling here. I'm feeling around here for some reason. I'm feeling here, up here under the brambles here. I'm feeling here. Yeah. I'm feeling here, there. Around here. Yeah. What's that blue thing there?
Suitcase.
Is it?
Is that a suitcase?
Blue thing in there, isn't it? I'm feeling here.
Right.
100%.
Yeah.
I'm feeling here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, but I'm feeling here. See these rocks? Yeah. All these rocks here? Yeah. I'm feeling here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm feeling this is his location here. Now I might be wrong. What I want you to do, just hold that there a second, there, and point that towards me. A second. Give me them dagger rods, and I'm going to ask, just point in to see I'm in the right direction. Just kind of make sure you get these on camera if you can get me. Captain Robert Nairac, if your spirit is here with me, spin this around as fast as you can. Let me know we're getting closer. Spin it around as fast as you can, please. Use my energy. Come on. This could be the final chapter of your disappearance. Come on, spin around as fast as you can. Let me know that we're in the right location, that we're near your spirit. Come on. Can you do better than that? Come on, use my energy. Is this the location? Are we getting closer to your body? Come on. You can finally go home to your family in England. See how it's spinning around itself? I'm not doing that. So I'm going to ask the question now. Captain Robert Nairac, if I'm in the right locality where your body is, make the letter X. If not, point them in the direction where we should go. X, we're in the right spot. Point them in the right direction if we're wrong. See how it's pointing there? Okay, so I'm going to turn this way. Captain Robert Nairac, if you are here for the last time, I will do a spirit box there. Point these dicer rods in the direction where your body is located. See? You're pointing behind me. So let's do it again, look. Go over here and point them over this way this time. Last time, Captain Robert Nairac, point these in the direction where your body is located. Behind me, see? Okay, that's the answer I get, and you're going to have a go as well. We're going to show Dale as well. Try and keep them as straight as you can. Point them. You know how to do now. Just point them in the same way. Keep them, but make sure you keep the dice rods pointed straight up as high as you can. Alright. Ask the same question.
Point us to the direction where your body is buried. I'm standing right in front of us, there's no point of it.
Yeah, we'll turn around the other way.
Yeah.
And kind of let them make sure they're able to flop around. That's it. Now ask the question. She's pointing straight away. Ask them to straighten them up, and that's it. Now ask the question.
Point us to the direction where you're...
See, I told you. And it's pointing where?
It's pointing right behind me.
There, look. In the brambles, all the way down along there. Right, so it's for the last time. Right there, you just hold that. We're going to put on the spirit box. For the last time, we're going to use it. This is the area where the man said his body is located, along the fence on the right, only a couple of 100 yards. This is where, somewhere along here, if the people from the United Kingdom are watching, you have a marked grave of Captain Robert Nairac. You're wrong. This is the area you need to be looking. You need to get your dogs in here. Let's turn it on for the last time. Captain Robert Nairac, my name is Philip and Dale. This is probably going to be our last investigation in relation to you, unless something new evidence comes up. Use this device and tell us, are we in the right spot? If you're absolutely innocent, say these words in this device. Try and use these devices to communicate. Say help, whatever you need to say it in this device before we go now. Is your body here? Oh, yeah. So that could be a marker too, easy. You know what I mean? Captain Robert Nairac, are you here? Say your name. Like what I'm trying to say to you, if spirits are so strong and if we are in the right locality, they should be able to say, yes, you're here. Last time. I'll give you them there, Dale. I'm going to let this run now as we walk up, just up to that big tree where behind Dale is. We're going to run this until we pass his grave and then we'll finish up beside his grave. Okay, let's turn around. How we do it, Dale, we'll just walk up as far as you can. We don't overdo it. Let's go, just go up far and then we'll let it run for a few minutes. You have the keys in your pocket, yeah? Just walk past that tree there and that's it.
Good one, actually. Hi, let me it's not just
Huh?
Right.
Right. Oh, hear that? Right. Now that's a sign. Right. Right. Do we turn right? Or are we in the right spot? You know what I mean? I thought that was very unusual down there. See, there's a marker.
There is, yeah.
Kind of a marker stake.
And all these are blocking it.
And these are all blocking it. See it here?
Yeah.
And see how there's a stake here? Like a stake out of nowhere, just banged down in the middle of the wood, out of nowhere. And there's brambles and a big round stone left there. Just have a look there and a wee nosy to see anything really standing out. Like, why would there be a stake driven down there and a big round stone in front of it? We're trying to see what's behind you and then we'll ramble on. I think we're in the right area of it, but I'm just looking to see, do I see any human remains, like a bone or anything that's... He said he was, the old man, if I can still remember what he said, it's like if he's under a ditch. That's what he said to me. And this is a ditch, isn't it? He said he's just thrown in under the ditch and the few trees thrown around him. That looked like an area there, didn't it?
It does, yeah.
Just bring that with you there and have a look there behind them trees there and see what you see in there. But I think that could be the area there more than anything else. Just have a wee gander in there yourself. Make your way out. Then do you see that and just looks like, oh hang on, what's going on here? Know what I mean? Do you see anything that would stand out? No. Like a marker or anything like that?
I'm looking. Nothing. That's not my eyes anyway.
I think it could be there.
It
What
could
we'll
be.
do is we're not going to go down there and kill ourselves. We're going to make way up that track and try and make a way out to the track again there. And we'll finish it off up there. But all I can do is tell you is if it's hard we'll go back to the same way, but just to there's the path there, look, just there. I can go up this way here, like this. But all I can remember is just show that for the last time. The man said he was under a ditch, so that's the ditch. See it?
From them at one point and
Yeah.
ran. He was a very fit man.
Yeah.
Amateur big boxer and champion. And he ran across this field here.
Yes.
To get away from them, and they followed him and brought him back. Then they rang.
I think so.
Yes.
For an IRA man. Now these were not IRA men.
Yes.
They would be sympathisers from South Armagh.
Yes.
And they knew the area.
Yes.
And they rang Dundalk.
Yes.
For an IRA man. I knew the man. 20 years for Nairac.
Yes.
He said he was
He
along
pleaded
the track,
guilty
he was
in
along the hedge.
the Republic.
Yes.
Spent
That's
20
the hedge
years
down
in
there,
Port
and
Leash
that's the
prison.
only place.
Yes.
See, there's brambles thrown in
I
there
won't
too,
mention any names,
Yeah.
but he may be still alive. Anyway, they sent for him. He arrived. He had to get his rusty old revolver out of its hiding place on the way. That's why when he first attempted to shoot Nairac, finish him off, shot to the head, the first 2 times it misfired. It was only on the third pull of the trigger that the shot went off, and that was
people
gone.
camping out there. Look at their tent over there.
Sean.
See it? Right there, come here. We'll finish it off here. Maybe that's one of the reasons why I always got a spirit box session good here. Because we're not too far. Look, that location's just down there. Right, so that's it. Have you enough in paranormal investigation? Do you want to see one more? Do you think you have enough?
I think that was enough for one day, I'd say, anyway.
Enough?
Yeah.
Altogether. Right, so that's it. It's goodbye from me.
It's goodbye from me, anyway.
And we hope you enjoyed this paranormal investigation. We were going to go to King Edward the Bruce's grave, but I think Dale said he's enough. We'll go home and get something to eat. So what's your whole experience, the whole lot before we go?
Oh, it's a total different experience. Like, you have to do it yourself to understand from his part of view, from the whole YouTube, to understand what it's really like in person. Me personally, I think it's a great experience. It's a new part of trying to figure out the other side of paranormal. But
and what's your whole experience of Captain Robert Nairac's disappearance?
It's very interesting, but I think the whole issue needs to be resolved. And
do you think we're on the right spot here?
I think we're not 100% we are, yeah.
I definitely don't think it's where you see that mark grave down there. Definitely not.
That's not his.
Right, so hey?
I wouldn't reckon so anyway.
No. Right, so that's it. It's goodbye from me. It's goodbye from Dale, and we'll see you in the next investigation. Slán go fóill. Goodbye for now.